Hi, I'm David.
And I'm Gail. And here we are in the Gare Centrale in Montreal, back again after a couple of days in Montreal touring.
Yeah, and what we're doing is we're about to hop on to the train number 14. It's called the Ocean, it's an overnight train. It will take us from here in Montreal to Halifax.
So this is another Via Rail train, like the Canadian that goes from Toronto to Vancouver and back again. This one goes from Montreal to Halifax.
That's right, and it's not quite as long as the Canadian, but we're still looking forward to it. It's a completely different set of coach cars and sleeper cars, so it's going to be quite exciting, I think, for us.
Yeah, so you will be on the trip together with us, so you'll see what we see and you'll hear our observations.
So let's get on board, I think.
Yes, bon voyage.
Yes.
As sleeping car passengers, we get to make use of the business lounge, and it's a pretty comfortable kind of a space for sure. It offers the usual kinds of things, such as the coffee machine, lattes, what have you, and also a complete selection of soft drinks and always the apples.
Okay, welcome aboard, Gail.
It's great to be here.
As we leave Montreal, it's worth taking a look at the interesting history of the ocean. Now, all of the cars are part of Via Rail's Renaissance rolling stock. However, they were originally built in the UK for the UK's Night Star sleeper train program, which was to be used between England and France through the Channel alongside the current Eurostar service. However, the project was abandoned and Via Rail acquired all 167 cars in the year 2000 at about 1/4 of their market value at the time. Via Rail then rebranded all of them as the Renaissance cars. They adapted them to the Canadian standards and then put them in service in the year 2002. Now you can still see the British design influences, particularly in the sleeping car, which has changed very little since being built in the UK.
One of those influences may have been the keys that we were issued. We've never seen this on the Via Rail Canadian or on Amtrak. We were able to lock our doors when we were out. Each of us was issued a card, and then we could lock it as usual from the inside. This is obviously the daytime configuration. There's a banquette and with a table, but you can push it in and have a continuous banquette. Underneath is the sum total of your storage space. So it is limited. There are no other options for your bags. Above is what will become the nighttime bunk. 4 rocker switches control your choice of different ceiling lights. A dial lets you control temperature between 18 and 24 degrees Celsius. The elegant cabinetry is probably part of the original UK design. I mean, it's unusual to have lighting in the closet, small though it is, but that's typical in these bedrooms. There are 2 AC electrical outlets and storage space, such as it is. Place for garbage. There was a net bag for items and a fold-down table. Now, we were facing forward in our banquette, but some rooms are reversed, and so you could be going backwards. It's something to consider when you are making your online reservations. You'll see this on the floor plans before you check out.
So it's on to the all-important bathroom review. Now the door opens rather awkwardly, but inside it's a quite roomy affair, fully complete with a sink and all the fixtures. It does have this hair dryer, but it does not work. It's not functioning at all, just sort of hangs there. On the side behind us here, we have our usual 2 Via bags that have our big towels and shampoo and what have you. There's a nice shower head that you can pull off for cleaning, push button type of shower control, as you can see here. There's soap that's offered, and the little buttons on are seem very British in design somehow. Control the cold and hot water. Just above here we have another cabinet, a mirrored cabinet with some extra toilet paper and more soap. And then below that is another couple of plugs, American style AC plugs. Down below we have the toilet paper dispenser and a little trash bin as well. Men, take note that there's a clever little latch that will hold up not only the toilet cover but the toilet seat as well.
A very brief journey. There was only one dinner, and yeah, look, that was the appetizer of tomato soup that I chose.
And I had a really nice actually cheese plate. Local cheeses with other accoutrements. It was really quite nice.
I chose for my main the crab crusted cod, very nicely prepared in this maritime region.
And I had the beef brisket. I thought it was pretty good. It was a little bit on the dry side. I thought it had a nice macaroni style pasta to go with it and some Brussels sprouts.
There was no choice for dessert, merely a cheesecake that was offered. It was okay, not splendid, but more than adequate. It's late in the evening and we're stopping in the service car to give you an idea of what it has to offer. And primarily its appeal is that it has Wi-Fi service, so only in this zone, however.
So our beds have been turned down while we were at dinner, and we're going to take a look at them now. This is Gail's berth. She, of course, gets the lower berth down here, quite comfortable. I'm in the upper berth. I thought it was fairly roomy up there, lots of room. I can't sit up in it, but it is still fairly wide. Has a good ladder that leads down, good sturdy ladder. Up above, there's a little gadget that flips open so that you can put a cup on there, or other small items such as your glasses. Above me is an air vent, but it does direct the air away from me so I'm not getting too cold.
And then there's just the one breakfast on this journey. I had fruit and yogurt, a fairly simple approach.
And I had the omelet, which, to be honest, looked a little bit too pre-manufactured for my taste. An interesting fact is that the dining car is a redesign of the original British design, which was a single-person sleeping car.
During the day, the service car becomes a popular hangout, no doubt because of the availability of Wi-Fi and a snack bar. But sadly, there's no other communal space like the Dome car on the Via Canadian.
Just a little scenic note for those of you who may be near a window. We are crossing over the mighty Miramichi.
There was just one fresh air break on this trip. It was in Moncton, New Brunswick, which is a real railway service hub. We had only about 10 minutes to stretch.
last meal on the train was a really, really good lunch.
Yes, we both had the seafood chowder, which was really well prepared.
Really
yes,
nice,
we agree.
yes. Mhm.
Yes. I had the crab cakes with a rice pilaf.
And I had a very nice ravioli dish, sort of a southern Italian style, and I really enjoyed that quite a bit.
Again, there was no choice for dessert, but this one was a real keeper, a caramel carrot cake.
So the train is winding its way around to the Halifax train station. I would have to say that the scenery along this trip has been quite outstanding, really. Really lovely. Certainly a highlight of the trip. And I will also make note that the windows on this train are particularly clean, which is quite a pleasure and sadly kind of rare these days, especially on Amtrak trains. They tend to be quite dirty. Much better on the Canadian. These ones were quite spectacular, really, in their cleanliness. Anyways, the scenery is really quite good. We've enjoyed it, just observing it as we passed through Quebec and New Brunswick and now Nova Scotia. And we're now just about to arrive at Halifax. We'll be sorry to see the end of this train trip.
Well, here we are. We've arrived in Halifax.
Yes, we have.
It was a very nice trip on the ocean. The train number 14. I would say it was unfortunately maybe a little bit too short, wouldn't you? It was just like
Yes.
overnight, really, and it would have been nice to spend a little bit more time on the train.
But we had a lot of fun.
It is, and it's always new scenery. You know, the East Coast is definitely different from the West Coast of Canada, or even more different from the prairies that we come from in Winnipeg.
So we would certainly recommend it to you as a trip, just as we did it from Montreal to Halifax. But you know, you can even catch it from just outside of Quebec City in Saint Foy.
Yeah.
So that's another option. It's still the ocean and still going to Halifax.
And I should mention that this trip to Halifax this year, we have managed to completely cross Canada from Vancouver to Halifax, all by train.
Yes, we've missed just two provinces, a little Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland in the farthest eastern point, and also 3 northern territories. But other than that, we have covered 8 Canadian provinces by train.
By train. And I think there's a story there that I think we're going to tell in the future.
I think so. We'll have to get together, David, and talk about how we put that together.
How other people can travel across Canada by
Sure.
train. So until then,
Do stay tuned, and thank you for all your support.
yes.
So we didn't take a train to Halifax just to catch a plane back to Winnipeg. We wanted to see Halifax as well, so here's a quick tour of some of those sites. Here we have the Halifax Citadel Historic Site atop Citadel Hill. Walking down the other side of Citadel Hill, you'll run into the beautiful Public Gardens, which is a beautiful Victorian-inspired landscape. Nearby is the Halifax Central Library, which features a very nice mural by Cliff Ayland, who happens to be a Winnipeg artist.
Farther afield is the fascinating Hydrostone District, built by the Halifax Relief Commission in answer to the largest man-made explosion before Hiroshima that happened in Halifax Harbor in 1917. The district takes its name from the distinctive bricks from which it is made. On the shore of Bedford Bay is Africville, once a thriving Canadian African community for over 100 years, but inexplicably, in the name of urban renewal in the 1960s, it was destroyed by the authorities and the people were relocated. Today, the church has been rebuilt and it is a museum. Halifax figures prominently in the Titanic disaster, being the closest major seaport to the disaster site. 150 people are buried in 3 Halifax cemeteries, 120 of them, the most, in Fairview Cemetery.
You could easily spend a half a day in the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic as we did. It has excellent exhibits to deal with the Titanic disaster for one, and Halifax's role in that disaster, the Halifax explosion, and there's an extensive exhibit about that, a very important event in Halifax history. As well, there's a very good exhibit dedicated to Samuel Cunard, who was born in Halifax in 1787 and founded the Cunard Line. Lots of really great ship models here. But let's not forget about the food. Here's $1.50 happy hour oysters at Shuck's Seafood and Oyster Bar.
And McKelvey's for lobster roll and crab and lobster burger. Not to mention the excellent truffle fries.
Blue Nose 2 is a really nice family-style, an affordable restaurant. And in fact, on Wednesdays, it offers lobster dinners that are 50% off. It was a really good way to end our visit to Halifax.
Do you have Halifax tips? We'd love to hear them. I hope you enjoyed our time in Halifax and to Halifax. If you did, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you.